Good afternoon from sacred space at Titania's realm. It's 2:42 p.m. on the 20th of October 2024. 11 days and it will be All Hallows Eve. I want to get my decorations out, but housing's coming to fix my staircase, my front steps on the 24th, so can't very well put decorations out there because I'll be ripping it all down to do the steps, so I'll have to wait till after they've been and gone, I think. I could put the death statue that talks that Lynn lent me again this year. I could hammer him into the ground outside of the steps though, but I'll think about it. I might just do it all in one go on the 25th. It's only 6 days early, but it gives me enough time to get everything set up. Every year, the last few years, I've said, I can't be bothered, I'm going to do Halloween, I don't observe the Jewish holidays, I don't observe the Goyish Christian holidays, well, why would I? Because sorry to Christians, but that's how I feel about that religion. And I don't observe even the Viking or the heathenish witchy Sabbats. I don't observe shit. But somehow I have 2 holidays that I do observe and I do like to participate in. And that's Halloween and Hanukkah. They're the only vestiges of my my path as a Jew and as a witch, is Halloween and Hanukkah. It's a bit weird, isn't it, people of Earth? But I guess I have like celebrations and festivities every Friday night, doing my wild mosh to wild rock music played by my handsome, talented men and women, friends and alter egos and ramjet. And that too is like almost a spiritual, wild, defiant, triumphant recalibration of my soul. So it's magical and it's powerful and it's wonderful, but I'm fucking tired. Can you tell? I danced 12 hours this weekend. I don't normally do 2 nights, and I did 2 nights and a day. Well, it was 9 hours. No, correction. 7 hours yesterday. 3 hours on Friday. So that's 10 hours. By the gods. So I was so tired I was floating out of my body. Walking to the bus was very difficult, and I had difficulty finding my bus or finding how to access it after hours, and that caused me a fair bit of trepidation because I was actually out of my mind with exhaustion. Literally, my spirit was floating ahead of me and dragging me along. And, come on, girlfriend, you can do this. I wasn't drunk. Wasn't at all drunk, but just an absolute adrenaline extremist and overly exerted myself. But you know what? I did it by my own free will, quite happily, and I left at 9:30 because I started getting irritated with drunk people being boisterous around me, and I'd done the long dance long enough, and enough is enough. But I had a wonderful time, absolutely had a wonderful time, and I actually talked to people. It was different being out dancing in daylight because just different vibe, Actually felt like talking to people and engaging with them more than I would normally do on my Friday nights out. So I met quite a few souls, and quite a few souls met me, and it is what it is, babies. It's a bit weird sometimes. I saw a few people that I know from the club too, which was lovely, that I hadn't seen for a while. So it was a jolly old time, and I'm very content, but I'm too exhausted and ill. After dancing for hours, I get tummy upsets. So I couldn't attend, I cancelled out on attending West End drumming this afternoon. But I thought, oh well, I'm sitting here and I'm on the chair, got fresh air coming through the house, and I'll read us yet another love story. I think this is the last of the love stories of this book. I think I've read all the others too. Let me just skim through. Yes, I've read them all except for the very first story in the book, which is titled Isis and Osiris. So it's a very well-known story from ancient Egypt, and the last of the stories, I've saved it for last for no particular reason other than I just wanted to read the other stories that I didn't know first, and it's all very lovely. Charlie's very excited and clingy with Mama today because she's felt a bit lonely and abandoned. So anyway, the subtitle of Isis and Osiris, let me just put my phone on silent in case I get any interruptions, is The Sunboat of a Million Years. Charlie, look at this. She's really been quite a strange little birdie today. Let us begin. Hail, Atum, you shine at dusk. Hail, Khepri, you shine at dawn. Hail, Ray, you shine at noon. You are the first hill. You give birth to yourself. In the primeval waters, Atum, the One, came into being. He lay in the dark waters, listless and weary. Then his heart was stirred to create all kinds of beings. He deliberated in his mind. He entered his heart, and the plan of the universe rose before him. Atum, the great he, she, joined with himself. He rubbed his phallus with his fist. He spat out from his mouth. Doesn't seem very appetizing to me, but I get that. Out came a son, air, and a daughter, moisture. Atum held his children in his embrace, imparting to them his ka, his life force, or if you will it, his soul. For a time, his children rejoiced in the Nun, the dark waters. Then they disappeared. Interestingly, Nun is one of the letters in the Hebrew alphabet too. Atum sent his eye to find his children. For years she searched for them. Then another eye grew in Atum's forehead. At last the first eye returned with the children. Atum rejoiced to be with them again. He named his son Shu, meaning life, and his daughter Tefnut, meaning order. In his gladness he wept, and from his tears the first men and women sprang into being. Then his heart was stirred again, and he yearned to find a place to rest himself. Nun, the dark waters, spoke to him and said, "Kiss your daughter so your heart may be strengthened. Do not let Tefnut leave you, for she is order. Do not let Shu leave you, for he is life. Let your son and daughter, life and order, remain together." With his breath, Shu raised Atum up. Atum kissed Tefnut. As he did so, he emerged from the waters in the form of the first hill. The first light shone in the world. When Atum's first eye saw that Atum had grown a brighter, more radiant eye in her place, she was furious. She changed herself into a roaring cobra with a swollen neck. To appease her jealous wrath, Atum set her in the centre of his forehead. Third eye, are we right? There, in her wisdom, power, and blazing light, she became the lady of the crown. Atum's children, Shu and Tefnut, air and water, joined together to give birth to Geb and Nut, the earth and the sky. The earth and the sky gave birth to Osiris, Seth, and Isis and Nephthys. From these gods, all the multitudes of gods which formed the world came into being. Notice they didn't say earth, but world. In Kabbalah, there are 4 varying ascending worlds. Just pointing that out for whatever reason. As a segue, you understand. We here on planet Earth, standing with our feet on the soil and on our Mother Earth, are in the world called Malkut. But this is a slightly different tradition, probably originated in Egypt, to be honest, but I'm segueing wildly here, so I could hear everyone starting to freak out. It's like, no. Everything is connected ultimately. All traditions, all histories, all pasts, all mythologies. There is only one almighty, supreme being, but manifested in myriads of ways. You and me, I and thou, everyone is connected, whether you like it or not. That watermelon's just on the edge of being off. Yuck. I don't eat enough fruit. When I have fruit, I let it go rotten. It's really a bad habit of mine. Geb gave to his firstborn son, Osiris, the black fertile land, the water, the plants, the cattle, and all the birds of the sky. Oh, that means you too, Charlie. You belong to Osiris, not Mama. She says, what? What outrage is this? Only in philosophical terms, Charlie. You'll always be Mama's baby. Always. Please don't take her from me, Osiris. Don't mean to cause you any disrespect. Put yourself all the time with the gods because they're jealous. Spiteful. Remember that. Even my Jewish God is a jealous God. It says so in the Torah. That's why he won't let me have a husband or a partner. It's mean. It's downright mean. He's always been like that with me. Wow. Didn't put me on earth to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune of ordinary mortal men. And though he made me suffer, I've suffered enough already. No more nastiness. My nervous system can't sustain it anyway. Apart from the fact that it's boring, I can't sustain it. So, the man who will be my lover and my partner has to be a very, very wonderful, loving man who chooses me by his own heart, body, mind and soul, without any nastiness or games or cruelty. I don't find any of that entertaining or exciting in any way. What do you say, Charlie? Are you my beautiful girl? But I have beautiful friends who do love me and protect me and care for me, so I am grateful. And those wonderful men, you know, will remain in my life for as long as they choose to be in my life, and that's how it's going to be, babies. But too much nastiness, bing bam boom. I'm a self-determined woman. I fought a long, hard battle to even still be alive in this moment. We want happiness, we want bliss, and when the right man comes, I want passion and romance and deep love and devotion and loyalty and faithfulness. Charlie, this watermelon's not the best, is it? Yeah, just on the turn. You want some? She'll spit it all over me. She's just drinking it. It's nice, isn't it? For you. It's not the best, Charlie. Alright. Where were we? I got distracted by Osiris owning all the birds in the sky. Right. Back in the room, people of Earth. To his younger son Seth, he gave the storm, the winds, and the desert. In those early days, bandits roamed everywhere, causing strife and hunger. Osiris overthrew the bandits and brought order to the land. He allowed the son to take the father's place. He taught the people to plant barley and emmer. I wonder what emmer is. I don't know what that is. I'll have to Google it later. Must be some kind of seed. Emmer. It's going to drive me nuts. Should we Google it now while we're sitting here talking about it? Because I'm on the laptop, I can actually do the Google. I can multitask simultaneously, whereas if I'm filming on my phone, I can't. Emma. Let's find out what Emma is. Can't believe all the stuff I don't know at my late stage of life. It's outrageous. Emma is a wheat or hulled wheat. Is a type of awned wheat, whatever that means. Is a tetraploid, the domesticated types. Oh, we don't need to go into all those details. The principal difference between the wild and the domestic forms is that the ripened seed head of the wild plant shatters and scatters the seed onto the ground, while in the domesticated emmer, the seed head remains intact, thus making it easier for people to harvest the grain. Right, there we go. We know now. Mama T knows something. You know something. Let us get on with the story. He taught them to honour and respect the gods. Indeed, that is like the first most important thing you need to do. If you don't honour and respect your gods, then how can you honour and respect yourself? For you too have a divinity inside you. Tiny, 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 tiny little spark. But if you don't honour and respect that spark, shine your light bright, hold your ground, inspire others to be their own deity, then what are you but an empty, shucked off husk or a zombie? Been there, done that. Actually got the t-shirt that I got my beautiful friend Jared to make from my logo, my deified t-shirt. Not that I claim to be a goddess in any real sense, you understand. I'm a warrior goddess with poetic license, having survived so much. And as I say, it wasn't me that survived, it was gifted to me from the gods, that survival. Each one was miraculous, nothing short of miraculous. Right, now come here. Charlie, you can't be on the keyboard. That's it. Up here. Thank you. Every now and then she just wants to go rogue, doesn't she? It's a birdie thing. You've got to go rogue for your birdie. Mama wants to go rogue sometimes too, Charlie. Did she go rogue this weekend? She danced 2 nights. Oh, it was fabulous. Thank you, Alter Egos. And Burst. And the Mad Mariachi. I didn't stay for the second set of Alter Egos or for Amessa because I was done. I was just too exhausted. It's a lot. It's a lot for the mama too with her sleep apnea. But did we go rogue? It was awesome. Atum in the form of the sun god Ray. See, I always thought Ray was Ra, but here they've pronounced it Re, R-E. Ray or Ra? It's confusing, isn't it? I guess it's interchangeable depending on what dialect. Anyway, Atum in the form of the sun god Ray gave Osiris the kinship. Thoth, the god of justice, crowned Osiris with the double crown of the 2 lands, which kind of looks like, you know, an orchid opening up with that golden crown in the middle of it. Sort of, kind of, anyway. Yes, I know. You was my beautiful girl. Yes. Osiris married. You're going to do a poo though. Yeah, you're just sizing up for it. I can see it's going to happen. What do I do? She's a birdie with a movable ass. Just have to accept it. Accept the limitations of our relationship, Charlie. Dear goddess. Anyway, she makes up for it in other ways, doesn't she? By being cute and adorable and talking to the mama. You talk to the people of Earth, Charlie? Say hello, people of Earth. Hello. I'm a little Australian bird. I'm a little Australian rainbow lorikeet bird. You want a kiss? Alright. Osiris married Isis. When there was peace and abundance in the land, he entrusted Isis with the kingship and set out with a small band of musicians and priests to explore other countries. He hunted, he fought, he built cities. Everywhere he went, he taught people to grow plants, so he was very much a god of the harvest and tilling the earth and making the earth abundant and bloom. I like that in a god and in a man. He charmed the people with his voice and his songs. I like that in a man too, and a god. And in return, they gave him wonderful gifts. All of these, ivory, gold, animals, jewels, he sent home to Isis, a man who shares his wealth with his wife. I like that on a man too. Where do I find one? Oh, it's too late for me now. I'm an old lady. And never mind. It's a lovely thought though. Generosity of spirit and finances and soul and heart and loins. Let's think about it a little bit. Shall we take a moment? Mama test, take a moment. It's not so bad. I have a wonderful life, people of Earth. I really do. For all my aspirations, if I got that all my aspirations came true, you know, then I'd have to aspire for something else. And then you'd get that, and then it'd be something else. It's the human condition. Sometimes you just have to be happy and grateful with what is. All the beautiful souls that light up for me, all the married men, it's just beam with delight when I walk into the joint, you know. Because it's the sweetness, because they know I won't go there because they're married. Some of them is very tempting to do, because the love is real, but gosh darn it. And then all the single men that light up for me, but I'm not interested in them for whatever reasons. And some of them probably, hoping that I'll change my mind one day, which, maybe one day that magic could happen too. I know I shouldn't say that. I'll give them all false hope, and that's not fair. There's nothing worse than false hope. But anyway, it's quite lovely. It's quite lovely, all the beautiful souls that surround me now. Look at me with sweetness and kindness and genuine admiration. There was only one soul last night that was hostile, really hostile. One of the security guards, don't know what his problem is, what pickle he's got up his bum. Maybe he doesn't like old fat hobbit women or witches or women who mosh, or maybe he's just dirty on the world, who knows, but not my monkey, not my circus. But I'm taking particular note of that one. There's no need for that hostility. I've never done anything to him. So, but what can you say? There's always one soul that has a pet hate against the Tanya. It's human nature. Can't do anything about it. It's a shame. He's a nice-looking young man. Very nice-looking. Should have the world at his feet. He should be full of light and love and joy and delight. No, he sits there glaring at me the whole time. Oh well, I'm not responsible for whatever, biases or prejudices or delusions people have. I'm really not. I wish him well. Be happy and heal in your own body, mind and spirit, young man. Learn to be like the other security guards, just laugh at my antics and slap me on the shoulder and hand me a cigar for the love of all the gods. Because it is funny sometimes. Oh, dear goddess. In Egypt, Osiris's younger brother, Seth, wanted to take the throne from Isis, and many times he tried with guile to seduce her. Yes, see, Seth was the fly in their ointment. See, there's always one, even amongst the gods. So don't take it personal. Rise above the bullshit, but keep a keen eye and monitor the situation. I bear no ill will to anyone. I'm only interested in dancing, living my best life, going home safely, coming there safely, going home safely. Any shenanigans that happen is just part of the performance art and the dance and my own little whimsical ways. I'm not there with any malevolent intentions to anyone. Life's too fucking short, people. I've died too many times already, to run around doing evil machinations, trying to destroy other people like Creature did to me. Confronted her last night. Well, I didn't confront her, but sat at a table with her last night. Ugh. Anyway, I didn't speak to it because it's not worthy of speaking to. And it's just kind of uncomfortable, but, as soon as the band came, right, I'm off to dance. Interested in being lured into their weird psyops and their lurid little fantasies that they think they're going to try and get the Tanya somehow under their domain. Nuh-uh, fools. Did it once. I fell for it because I was very lonely and broken at that time, but the Tanya, it's not quite so malleable now. I don't need you. I have my own dreaming, my own life, and my own joy and delight. So it was odd. It was very odd. But anyway, I danced my dance no matter what, no matter who, all night long till I almost dropped dead of my own exhaustion. And it was powerful, and it was beautiful, and it was good. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, Seth trying to seduce Isis. Bit disrespectful when it's your brother's wife. But Isis' heart and mind were clear, and she always understood Seth's intentions. As the gifts from other countries arrived, Isis began to long for the return of her husband. She had the court painter paint her portrait and sent it as a gift to Osiris. When he received her portrait, he wrote to her at once, "Dearest one, sister without peer, when I gaze at you, I see my heart's desire shining before me, like the rising morning star on the first day of the new year." In other words, the hope and the promise of the future stretching beyond. Lovely. Your hair glitters like lapis. Oh, I love lapis. It's one of my favourite stones, actually. Your eyes are radiant. Mine look a bit sunken from exhaustion, but it is what it is. Just close that curtain, it's stabbing me in the eyeballs. Yeah, you know what? For someone who danced for 12 hours, was it 12 hours? So 10 hours. Don't actually look too bad. Interesting. Your eyes are radiant, your nipples alluring, your arms like burnished gold, your fingers as delicate as lotus blossoms. How firm are your thighs, how slender your waist, how the men must turn their heads longingly as you pass. Fortune belongs to the man who can please you. I will return soon, my dearest one. Oh, what a wonderful poet. What a wonderful love poem to his wife. Still waiting for mine. Never found a lover that can write me beautiful poetry or love letters. Oh, they weren't worthy, were they? They weren't capable of anything but the fuckery. It's all they could gift me, their own fuckery. Some of it wasn't even good fuckery either, just saying. Boring. Some of it was great sex, but then I had to deal with their lurid, cheating, awful, false, shallow, evil personalities, so sex wasn't worth it in the end either. Anyway, on we go. Mustn't dwell in past bitternesses. We must rejoice in all the awesomeness that I am yet to manifest, with the assistance of the gods, of course, because they want me to have my happy ever after. Why not? It's in the lap of the gods and my own determination. The right person at the right time, chosen specifically for me. The Tanya, Mustang Quay, Psychedelic Dreamer, Little One, Mama T, Miss Five, maybe in the next life. Maybe. Certainly if I find the one, I'll feel like I've died and gone to heaven, because I've never experienced a great love ever in my life, except with my bird and my cats and my dog, and my horse when I had a horse as a teenager. But I've never experienced a great love with a human mortal before, ever. Sad but true. Maybe it's unrealistic though to wish for that, since most people don't have great loves. They just have people they settled for out of guilt or shame or thinking they were doing the respectable thing or holding true to values of other people that weren't even their values, or honouring religions that were toxic and rancid and cruel and evil and destructive. Or it's just odd. It's odd. But I will not settle for anyone except for the one who loves me deeply and truly and loyally and devotedly and faithfully and adoringly and respectfully and passionately and romantically as well. Generous, kind, sweet, honouring. I want it all, people of earth. It's kind of insane, but I want it all. Isis wrote back to Osiris. Gee, it's busy, my neighbours, today. They've been racing up and down all bloody afternoon. Anyway, where was I? When I think of you, says Iris to Osiris, my heart flutters. I cannot act sensibly any more. My heart leaps from its place. I do not know which dress to put on. I can scarcely fasten my shawl. I forget to put on my eye paint. Come quickly, my brother. Too many months have passed. Osiris, my sister, I am riding north in the ferry. I carry plants and roots. The oarsmen dip their reeds in the water, and the river pools like wine. Isis, my eyes are fixed on the garden gate. My ears, just close that. My ears are straining. I'm waiting for you who neglected me. I watch the road, my heart no longer silent. Come quickly, my brother, like a gazelle fleeing in the wild, its feet reeling, its limbs weary, leaping from hill to hill, trembling from fear of the hunter. Osiris, Isis has cast her net and ensnared me in the noose of her hair. I am held by her eyes, curbed by her necklace, imprisoned in the scent of her skin. Isis, my brother, you hold me in your arms, and I do as you wish. My longing for you is my eye paint. I press closer to you so I may gaze at you. Oh, let this hour go on forever. The smell of your breath stirs my heart. You bring me sorrow and joy. Do not leave me. I belong to you, my brother, like this black earth, growing with flowers and sweet-smelling herbs. My Melilote flower, your plants summon us. One moment. Melilote. Melilote. Sweet clover and cumoniga from the cumins. Interesting. Native to Europe, now found throughout the world, used as medicine. Might thin the blood and help wounds heal. Right. My Melilote flower wants to thin his blood and heal his wounds. Your plants summon us. The stream you dug with your own hand flows by our side. The north wind refreshes us. How lovely it is to wander hand in hand. The sound of your voice is pomegranate wine. I live by hearing it. Your looks, each look, sustain me more than food and drink. That's how you know when you're in love, when you're just grateful just to have that look pass between you, and it's kind of odd and strange and silly but magical. Just magical. Osiris, my sister, my wife, my favourite. I open my arms to hold you. I kiss you, your lips open. Ooh. My arms bound like a red fish in a pond. O night, be mine forever, now that Isis is in my arms. And so it was that Osiris returned to Egypt. With his coming, the waters of the Nile rose higher than they had in many years. There was peace and abundance. There were festivals and celebrations. The people adored Osiris. Oh dear goddess, what's happened to my... Oh, we're still filming. Okay. Just got to watch this because it played up the other day. Something chronic. Seth despised him. He plotted against the brother who had been given everything. He brooded until he thought of a way to destroy the happiness of Osiris and Isis. Seth was married to Isis' sister Nephthys, who resembled Isis in many ways. The two sisters often exchanged visits. Seth had fine linen robes woven for Nephthys that were identical to the ones that Isis wore. He braided his wife's hair to match Isis's hairstyle. He praised Nephthys, saying, "Every day you grow more like your radiant sister Isis." And the timid Nephthys, innocent of Seth's intentions, was pleased. One evening at dusk, when Nephthys was in Isis's garden, Osiris came up behind her and, thinking that she was Isis, put one hand around her slender waist and fondled her bare breast with his other hand. Nephthys cried out in fright, but Osiris, thinking she was delighted, lifted her into the air and carried her protesting to their secret place in the garden. And as the wild goose shrilled, Osiris covered her mouth with kisses, saying, "Delicious woman, you draw me to you. How can I resist? My sister, my wife, my favourite." Nephthys became pregnant. She did not dare tell Seth. She hid her pregnancy, telling only her servant and feigning illness. When the child was born, she and her servant took him far from the city and laid him to die in a bed of melilote flowers, which we now know as clover. Isis was gathering herbs by the Nile when Nephthys' servant came up to her and asked permission to speak. The servant told her how Osiris had mistakenly consorted with her sister, and that the child from that one meeting lay exposed at this moment in the wilderness. Isis called her dogs and went at once in the direction the girl had described. She heard the child's muffled cries and soon found the infant among the rocks, wrapped in royal linen, lying in a bed of melilote flowers. Isis brought the child back to the palace. She named him Anubis and raised him to be her guardian and attendant. She did not speak of the child's birth to either Nephthys or Osiris. After waiting so many months for his return, she did not want anything to disturb the love between herself and her husband. Seth watched the love between Isis and Osiris deepen, and his rage grew. Not only did Isis adore her husband, but whenever Osiris appeared on the streets, the people hailed him and cried with joy. Seth continued to brood, and in time he discovered there were other men in the kingdom who were also jealous of Osiris's power and fame. Seth mingled with them and carefully gathered together a group of 72 conspirators. Aso, the queen of Ethiopia, a powerful and treacherous sorceress who was visiting Seth, found out the measurements of Osiris's body and gave them to Seth. Seth then had a wooden chest made which fit the measurements of Osiris exactly. The chest was decorated with ivory, ebony, carnelian, lapis, and gold. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? I love carnelian and ivory and ebony and lapis and gold. Maybe I had a life in Egypt once upon a time. I often wonder about that. But maybe not. I mean, one can never tell, can one? In the month that the sun passes through Scorpio, when all was in readiness, Seth held a banquet in Osiris's honour. The carefree Osiris had no suspicions and arrived without guards or attendants. Osiris was gay and easy. He sang for the guests. Throughout the dinner, adoring and amusing toasts were offered to Osiris. It's too bloody windy now. Now I've got the curtains all shit shut. Oh, stabbing me in the eye. Let me just close the windows and put on aircon and be done with all the nonsense. Oh, it hurts to walk. I danced so hard last night and yesterday. Oh, right, here we go. Back on the room, people of Earth. Where were we? Seth held a banquet in Osiris's honour. The carefree Osiris had no suspicions and arrived without guards or attendants. Osiris was gay and easy. We're up to that. He sang for the guests. Now it's falling down here. It's starting to decompensate. Right, here we go. Throughout the dinner, adoring and amusing toasts were offered to Osiris. Musicians accompanied him on the lute and drums. Dinner was sumptuous. Fish, fowl, salads, cheese, grapes, dates, melons, and every kind of bread was served. Yum. Mama T loves nice breads. By the gods, I like good quality bread. Who's a pretty girl? Yes, you are. After dinner, before the games began, Seth removed a fine linen cloth from a chest that was lying in the centre of the room. Everyone admired the chest. Then Seth opened it, and it was even more beautiful inside than out. It was a perfect coffin. I shall give this coffin to whomever it fits, Seth announced. One guest after another eagerly lay down in the coffin. It was larger than all the men who were present. Then Osiris lay down in the coffin. It fit him perfectly. The coffin belongs to Osiris, Seth shouted, and rang a bell, which was a signal to the conspirators. They ran to the chest, hello, and pushed down the lid. Osiris cried out and pushed against the lid. The men worked feverishly, hammering nails into the coffin until it was shut. It's an evil thing to do, isn't it? I'd hate to be hammered into a coffin or confined space. Oh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it. I even hate being hemmed in, when I'm dancing. People are like too close or pressing into me or pushing their bodies into me. I just give them a flick. I hate that, being tied down or hemmed down or trapped by other humans. It's a sickening feeling. Yes, Charlie. We don't like that, do we? We're free birds. Seth shouted and rang a bell, which was a signal, and they went and pushed down the lid. And yeah, I read that. Sorry. With Osiris's cries in their ears, the men carried the coffin north for 3 days and 3 nights until they came to the mouth of the Tanitic River. There at dawn, they placed the chest in the sea, and as it floated away, they gave their final toasts. Hail Osiris, son of Geb. Hail Osiris, son of Nut, Lord of abundance. Where is your power now? Where is your double-horned crown? When they could no longer see the chest, they stopped their toasts and hurried to their homes. Seth was content. Now he would rule Egypt. When Isis learned of her husband's death, she wept. She tore her clothes. She covered her hair with dust. She put on mourning clothes. She cried out, heaven weeps, earth trembles at this deed. Ray is in the heavens, and yet it is dark. The heavens and earth are one. The earth is in shadow. My tears flood the land. They burn my face. Do not forsake me, Osiris. Come to your sister. Take away the pain in my body. You who never found fault with me, do not leave me. Heaven has fallen through to earth. I walk the road searching for you. Fire burns in my heart. I grieve that you are alone. Baby. Little baby. I stretch out my arms to greet you. Mama's a sweet little baby. Mama's so tired. Yes, but she's a very lucky mama too. She got to do lots and lots of dancing this weekend. Yes, she got to dance beautifully. Mama's little baby girl. No bites. Calm your fun. Isis went in search of Osiris. She wandered over the delta, asking everyone she met, even the children, if they had seen her husband's casket. Then 3 children who'd been playing at dawn near the Tinitic River told her they had seen a large group of men whispering together and carrying a shining box to the edge of the river and shouting, "Hail, Osiris, son of Geb! Hail, Osiris, son of Nut!" The children told her they had crept to the river's edge and watched as the golden box had floated out to sea. Many months later, Isis learned that the coffin had been found in Byblos. The waves had thrust it. I think that's in Cyprus. Let me just check, because I don't want to give the wrong information, you understand. Our poor liars and our poor misinformers. Byblos, Byblos. See what it says. I should have been more Byblos. It's a city in Lebanon. Well, there you go. I thought it was in Cyprus. But apparently it's in Lebanon. Right. Well, anyway, let us continue. There's 3 things I didn't know today. By the gods. So the coffin had been found in Byblos, which is in Lebanon. The waves had thrust it into the trunk of a tamarisk tree. The bark had enfolded the casket, and the tree had continued to grow. When the king of Byblos heard of this marvel, he visited the tree. He admired the width of the tree and ordered it to be cut down, and the section containing the casket to be carved into a pillar to support the palace. Isis crossed the sea to Byblos. Before she went to the palace, she stopped at a spring. Suddenly the grief she had felt all these months overwhelmed her, and she wept until she could neither move nor speak. She fell asleep by the spring. The next morning, the sound of high, sweet, girlish voices woke her from her sleep. Isis opened her eyes to find herself surrounded by young servant girls, singing and splashing each other with water. By mistake, they splashed Isis, who laughed with surprise and then offered to braid their hair. As she plaited their hair, the girls almost swooned at the soft touch of her hand and the wonderful fragrance which flowed from her body. Don't we all love a wonderful fragrance, babies? I made my own perfume the other day, but I put some patchouli in it and some sandalwood, and it's gone a little bit woody. I think now it'll only be good for like aftershave for a man. It's just lost the sweetness that I had intended, but I might still wear it anyway. It's not a lot. I'll run through it fairly quickly, but yeah, I was aiming for something. Not sure what I was aiming for. I just threw in a few other things that changed the scent completely into a more earthy, woody kind of scent. When the servant girls returned to the palace, such a sweet scent filled the air that the Queen of Byblos asked them where they had bathed. They said that they had not bathed. They had only drawn water from the spring, and an Egyptian woman had plaited their hair. The Queen sent for the foreign woman, and liking her manner, made her the nurse of her youngest child. Soon the Queen's older sister followed Isis, for she knew songs and spells and stories. Most of all, they loved her smell. I wonder what she smelt like. Probably blue lotus from the Nile, and maybe frankincense and myrrh. Interesting. Amber, Spirit just said. Amber, maybe. They like to use a lot of amber in India and Middle East. But anyway, where were we? Isis came to love the queen's children and wanted to make the infant boy immortal. She nursed him with her finger, and every evening, while the others slept, she brought the infant into the hall and set him over the coals and recited a spell. As part of his body burned, doesn't sound terribly pleasant, she changed herself into a kite. That's a kind of bird, people. And, wailing and lamenting, flitted about the pillar which held Osiris's casket. One night the queen awoke, and thinking she heard the cries of her child, went into the hall. When she saw her child lying in the coals, she screamed in horror. She seized him from the fire, but he was unharmed. At once Isis resumed her womanly form and stood before the queen. I came in search of Osiris's casket, she said. You and your children restored me in my time of grief, and I want to strengthen your child so he would never feel pain. But now I must return. I must bring back Osiris, back to his own land. With the king's permission, the casket was removed from the pillar and given to Isis to bring back to Egypt. Isis wrapped the remains of the pillar in a linen cloth, poured ointments on it, blessed it, and gave it to the king of Byblos, who made a shrine to Isis from the pillar, which was worshipped by pilgrims for many years. As quickly as possible, Isis had the casket placed in a boat and set sail. Maneros, the king's oldest son, who had asked to accompany Isis on her journey, sat with her by the casket as the oarsman rowed. After a time, Isis asked him to go to the lower deck so she could be alone. When he was gone, she slowly undid the lid and opened the coffin. She looked at the body of her husband. His eyes were shut. He was wearing the green robe she had spun for him. It's a lot of work spinning linen, trust me on that. One gold necklace encircled his chest. Even spinning wool's a lot of work to finish off my bit of wool. I was nearly finished when the thing kept falling off, but Jared fixed it about a week ago, but I haven't got back into it. I've got to finish that task. It's another task I must reach completion. As an Aries, it's very hard. I have to really force myself to finish projects. It's a typical Arian trait to start a project, get all passionate about it, throw yourself into it, work at it, and then all of a sudden a switch goes off and you just lose interest in it and you have all these unfinished projects. So as a artist, you know, I struggled. I struggled to finish projects. It took me 2 years to finish all my decoupage cases, for example. I would just struggle. I would just be like, yeah, I'm done. Now I have to go and finish it. Can't think of anything worse. Might as well draw a hole through my head. But I made myself, especially during the COVID epoch, I forced myself to finish tasks, even if it seemed insurmountable and difficult. And I'm going to start having the same attitude towards my love life if I meet anyone that's available, that not obsessive or stalkerish or weird or anything, but just to see things through and not, because I tend to, with my trauma issues, when things start to get a little bit weird or things start to go wrong, I tend to want to detach immediately. And I sometimes forget that other humans are involved and they might not have bad intentions for once. They might have actually, you don't know what their intentions really were because there was no real communication. So you have to assume things. They might really be out to fucking get me, for example. But so I'm having to kind of navigate things a bit. I think is this more sadism and ugliness starting already, or am I just being hyper-reactive because of my history? It's difficult for me. It's very difficult for me to try and navigate things, It's odd. But there's a lot of people that are very loving and kind to me. So I'm just kind of, just committed to just dancing no matter what and remaining in a state of bliss and love and being happy no matter what and not letting a few bastards grind me down and hoping against hope that it's not going to turn featured like things have happened to me too many times in the past. Wasn't terribly pleasant to meet up with the chief, most rotten of them all last night, the chief of the rot, but she didn't dare utter a word to me, just as well too. I would have just said, don't talk to me. Don't engage with me. I think she knew that anyway. Wise, very wise. But it's odd how that was, it's odd how that came about actually. But anyway, no harm, no foul, Mama T. She does rose above it. It's straight back to the dance. And my beautiful friends watching over me lovingly as they do. And but I did leave at the end because I was exhausted and people were getting too rambunctious around me and my nervous system was shot. And that's when it's time to go, babies, when my nervous system is shot to pieces. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away. You got to know when to run. Anyway, where were we? One gold necklace encircled his chest. Isis softly touched his forehead, his eyes, his lips. She brought her face close to his and whispered, "My brother, I am here. My fine musician, speak to me, look at me. I am your sister who loves you. I am your sister who has been searching for you. You are here to look at you as happiness, but your face is turned away from me. Do not separate yourself from me. My heart is full of bitterness. I am shouting to the heights of the heavens. Do you not hear me? No one on earth loved you more than I. I was your sister, your favourite, your wife. Speak to me, my brother. I beg you, speak." Maneros, hearing Isis' cries, crept quietly to the upper deck. When she felt the boy staring curiously at her ravings, she turned in great anger. The frightened boy stumbled backward, tripped and fell over the side of the boat. The oarsman continued to row. Isis threw herself on her husband's corpse and wept. Then she took the name ring from Osiris's hand and closed the lid. In Egypt, Isis hid the Osiris coffin in the depths of the delta in a place she thought no one would venture. But one night, during the full moon, Seth was hunting in the swamps and saw what seemed to be gold glittering in the mud. He went closer and, recognizing the jeweled chest, opened it and found that the body of Osiris had been returned to Egypt and was still intact. In a fury, Seth cut the body into 14 pieces and scattered them throughout the delta. When Isis heard what Seth had done, she set out with Anubis on a papyrus boat and searched the swamps until she found every part of Osiris' body except the phallus, which the Sebrum had swallowed. With her eyes closed and chanting, she used wax and spices to fashion a likeness of her husband's phallus. Then, with knitted cords, she joined his body together. She sat on Osiris and whispering endless words of love. She revived the weariness of the listless one and drew his essence into her body. The effort was so great, she fell to the earth and slept. Then a storm poured out of the heavens. Thunder and lightning filled the air. Isis awoke, and when she realized that the gods were in terror, she ran into the storm, throwing her arms about, dancing joyously and shouting, "O gods, listen to me. I am Isis. I am the sister and wife of Osiris. I wept for my husband. I wept for my fate. I wept for the struggle between the two lands. Holy gods, I no longer weep. I carry in my womb the seed of Osiris. I carry in my womb the child who will slay his father's enemy. He will inherit the land of Geb. He will rule the land. He will be your master." Atum, the master of the universe, spoke to Isis and said, "Lady of enchantments, how do you know these things? How do you know that your child will be the god who will rule over Egypt?" She answered, "Am I not Isis, the most beautiful? Am I not Isis, the mistress of charms? Am I not the one, the only one, who knows the secret name of Re? My child will be blue-haired. Great and beautiful will be his feathers. He is already known in your hearts." The master of the universe said, "Lady of secrets." Right, we got trouble. My computer's doing weird things. We might get cut off, people. This happens sometimes with this crazy Takachta laptop. I swear it's possessed. Lady of secrets, we do not know how you conceived, but we acknowledge that the child who is growing in your body belongs to Osiris. Therefore let no one break the egg that is growing. Let the great magician Seth cause the child no harm. Isis cried, Listen, O gods, listen and obey the commands of Atum. The master of the house of primeval forms has spoken. He has decreed that my son shall be protected. He has knit together an entourage to protect the falcon in my womb. Atum knows that my son is the heir of Osiris. Strength is in my flesh. Power is in my flesh. Listen, O gods, and keep him safe. The storm ended. Isis buried the coffin of Osiris. A short time later, Seth, who was now ruler of Upper Egypt, found Isis and brought her to the south to work in a spinning mill with other women. After several months, Thoth, the god of justice, who gives counsel, descended from the sunboat and whispered in the ear of Isis, Divine woman, just as mortals survive by guidance, you too must listen. You must not stay here any longer. Go into hiding in the northern swamps and raise your child there. When he is fully grown, let him return and take his rightful place on the throne of Osiris. That night, Isis left in the dark and made her way toward the swamps of the delta. She walked for several weeks. Then one evening, as she was about to enter the town of Buto in the northern province, 7 scorpions appeared on the road. She knew they were gods and spoke to them in a low voice, warning them, Be careful, do not draw attention to me. The magician Seth may be near. Do not look at anything but the road until we pass the town. They entered Buto and passed house after house. A rich woman was standing outside her gates, watching the evening light. Isis stopped, thinking to ask the woman for shelter. But when the woman saw the scorpions, she became frightened and cried, Away, woman! Away from my door, you and your companions. The woman shut the gates and went into her house. She gave orders to her servant not to open the doors to anyone. Isis continued. At the outskirts of Buto, a girl of the marshes saw Isis and offered her shelter. The scorpions were angry. They spoke together and returned to the house of the rich woman. They put their poison on the spine of Tephan, the largest one. Tephan crept under the gates and double doors and entered the house of the wealthy woman. Suddenly there was a scream. Tephan had bitten the rich woman's son. The woman rushed out of the house with her child. She ran through the streets, calling for help. The houses remained shut. No one went to her. Isis heard the child's cries and followed the woman. Stop, she cried. I know charms. I know spells. My words have great power. My father has taught me. I can help your child. He is innocent. The woman clutched her child to her and looked at Isis in terror. Do not be afraid, Isis said. Give me your child. I will heal him. Listen, and I will tell you how I learned to heal. One day, Ray descended from the sunboat and walked across the land, admiring his creations. He was old and spit dripped from his lips. I caught his spit, mixed it with mud, and fashioned a serpent. The next day, when Ray was walking across the earth, the serpent stung him. Ray cried out in pain and fell to the ground. What is it? The gods cried. For a while the great god could not speak. His lips trembled. His body shook. He cried again, Help me, my children. You who were born from my body, help me. Something painful has stabbed me. My heart does not know it. My eyes have not seen it. My hands did not make it. It is not fire. It is not water. I have never tasted such pain. The gods came. They brought gifts. They spoke magic words. They chanted. No one could help him. Then I went to him. I said, Tell me your name, Father, and you will be cured. Quickly then, he said, Take away the poison, for I have no strength. My heart is on fire. My body is trembling. The poison spreads through me as swiftly as the Nile overflows its bank. Help me, my daughter. You are the one whose speech has the breath of life. Tell me your secret name, Father, and you shall live. Then Ray spoke. I am abounding in names. I am abounding in forms. I am the one who made the heavens and the earth. I knotted together the mountains. I made the waters so the heavenly cow might come into being. I made the bull so to please the cow. I stretched out the two horizons and placed the souls of the gods in the center. When I opened my eyes, there is light. When I close my eyes, there is darkness. The Nile rises at my command. I made the hours and days and festivals. There is no one greater than I. I am Khepri at dawn, Re at noon, Atum in the evening. These are my names. Yes, I said to him, these are your names, but tell me your secret name. The one your mother and father hid inside you when you were born, so no magician might have power over you. Ray was silent. The hours passed. At last, in the evening, when the poison ran through him like fire, and he could scarcely breathe. He whispered, "You shall have my name. Come closer, so it passes from my body to yours." Then he closed his eyes. There was darkness. He went deeper and deeper into himself. He took his name from his heart and placed it in my heart. "One day," he said, "you will tell my name to your son, and my name will shine in his eyes." Isis then turned to the woman and said, "Who is this? Oh, I have a visitor. I shall have to depart and come back to you. Most unexpected. It's a neighbour from down the road. Okay, my darlings, I'll be back for part 2.